Well, greetings and salutations, guys and girls. It's the Off-Grid Warrior and Ranger. He's back there waiting at the gate, wondering why I've left him in there. He's a hound, so you know, he tends to get a whiff of something and he's gone for, well, literally hours, and I don't want that right now. So hopefully the camera footage is working, guys, because I'm using an old school camera. It does not have stabilization. I've given up on the GoPro. It just keeps on dying on me and there's all sorts of issues with it, so hopefully this works. Anyways, today we're going to be talking about off-grid power, or at least my off-grid power. And I guess we should clear up what off-grid means. For some reason, there's some folks that seem to struggle with this idea of what off-grid means. Off-grid merely means not connected to public utilities, or specifically the power grid. There are no utilities up here. I haul my own water and I make my own power, or the equipment I have makes my power. Anyways, guys, let's get to it. It's Saturday afternoon and I'm hoping to, once I've shot this, is kind of start the stream. So anyways, you'll see, I guess we'll start with the cabin over here. You will see that on the top of the roof there is a dish. That's a Starlink satellite dish, and that's fairly new. I've had that for about, I don't know, 6 or 8 months. There's also 3 solar panels there. I've only had those for about a year now, or operating for a year. So I've been up here for 3 years. Hey buddy. I've been up here for 3 years, and you know, I've added to the system and made some adjustments. It's not much of a system, guys, but anyways, you'll see. Chickens, my 2 girls in the chicken coop. Okay, so I've got everything lined up here that I use for power, or have used in the past. And you can see there's a portable solar panel. There's 3 solar generators and a refrigerator here. Also in the mix is a generator. Over here, guys, that's a Generac. It's the GP2500i. Thanks, Ranger. And okay, so when I first moved up here, the first couple of years, essentially, I ran off solar generators, guys. You can see 3 of them there. Obviously not all at the same time. My favorite being the Blue Eddy over there. That is the EB150. This is the Delta Flow. EcoFlow Delta, excuse me, and this is the Primo 700. I think that's a 600 watt. I think that might be 1800 watts, the EcoFlow, and I forget. Okay, can you guys hear me now? Yeah, somebody in chat, let me know if you can hear me now. Should be audio. Well, it's the downside of only having 5 folks. So if anybody is in the chat, can you tell me if you can hear audio right now? Audio in the chat, yes or no? Ah, okay, good. So there's probably quite a delay on the stream, guys. Let me know in chat too what the quality is like, if there's any buffering issues, because there's a bunch of things I need to do on my end to improve the stream. And since I'm just learning, I'm not getting any feedback. I can't watch myself. So let me know if the stream is buffering, if it's watchable, and if there's anything you're noticing. All right. And I'll just assume that there's a bit of a delay between me talking and you guys getting back to me. Okay. I'm still an amateur, guys. An amateur. Okay, audio and video are synced. Thanks, Tim. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate you guys letting me know how things are going. So what I was planning on doing, guys, this afternoon, I actually went out before I started the stream and did a little video with all the equipment that I use for, power, what I do in the cabin here, power-wise, all the equipment I have. And I went out there with the GoPro at first and shot some video for kind of an intro. And I came back in, fired up the generator, turned the computer on, and I realized that the GoPro video that I'd shot looked like absolute garbage. I don't know what it is with GoPros nowadays, but they seem like junk. So I switched everything down again, powered off the generator, ran out, and I got one of my older cameras, and I shot another intro video showing the gear and equipment, and came back in, powered the generator up again, put the computer on, and check the video, and it seems to be okay. So what I'm going to do is play the video that shows the equipment that I use here for making electricity. And after the video, we can chat about it. If you guys have any questions on my gear or suggestions or perhaps things you've done in the past, we can talk about that in chat. I'll read the chat and I'll just answer your questions. So right now I'm just going to play the video that I shot this afternoon, and we'll go from there. So bear with me. If you guys aren't hearing audio to the video, please let me know in chat, all right, so I can fix it. Let's do this. Yeah, so I'm having some problems here, guys. Sorry about this. We'll clean up. We'll clean the whole stream thing up eventually. Media, why is it not playing? There we go. So hopefully the camera footage is working, guys, because I'm using an old school camera. It does not have stabilization. I've given up on the GoPro. It just keeps on dying on me and there's all sorts of issues with it. So hopefully this works. Anyways, today we're going to be talking about off-grid power, or at least my off-grid power. And I guess we should clear up what off-grid means. For some reason, there's some folks that seem to struggle with this idea of what off-grid means. Off-grid merely means not connected to public utilities, or specifically the power grid. There are no utilities up here. I haul my own water and I make my own power. All the equipment I have makes my power. Anyways, guys, let's get to it. It's Saturday afternoon and I'm hoping to, once I've shot this, is kind of start the stream. Anyways, you'll see, I guess we'll start with the cabin over here. You will see that on the top of the roof there is a dish. That's a Starlink satellite dish, and that's fairly new. I've had that for about, I don't know, 6 or 8 months. There's also 3 solar panels there. I've only had those for about a year now, or operating for a year. So I've been up here for 3 years. Hey buddy. I've been up here for 3 years, and you know, I've added to the system and made some adjustments. It's not much of a system, guys, but anyways, you'll see. Chickens, my 2 girls in the chicken coop. Okay, so I've got everything lined up here that I use for power, or have used in the past. And you can see there's a portable solar panel. There's 3 solar generators and a refrigerator here. Also in the mix is a generator over here, guys. That's a Generac. It's the GP2500i. Thanks, Ranger. And okay, so when I first moved up here, the first couple of years, essentially I ran off solar generators, guys. You can see 3 of them there. Obviously not all at the same time. My favorite being the Bluetti over there. That is the EB150. This is the Delta Flow, EcoFlow Delta, excuse me. And this is the Fremo 700. I think that's a 600 watt. I think that might be 1800 watts, the EcoFlow, and I forget what the Bluetti is. It's probably around 1500. It's a little less than the EcoFlow, but I will say the Bluetti, in my experience, and I've had these for 3 years, the Bluetti is far superior to this EcoFlow. I'm just saying, guys, trust me on that. I'd highly recommend this Bluetti over here. Anyway, so when I first got out here, I ran on portable solar panels like that. I have 3 of them, and they were literally charging the solar generators, and that's how I got by. I have some small, make sure I'm in focus, I have some small LED bulbs, 4 of them, that I use. They're USB LED lights, and I run them off the solar generators over here. So that's what I use for lighting, and a lot of headlamps. I have headlamps all over the place. I usually have one in this jacket, hanging next to the door, in a backpack, down in my truck. So the first few years, specifically in winter, those solar generators were not quite enough. Just checking on this camera here, guys. I don't use it often, so I'm not sure if I'm in focus or not. Anyways, during winter months, it's a little difficult to keep the solar generators charged. I literally have days and days of doom and gloom out here. So it was a bit of a struggle, and I found myself using headlamps quite a lot in cooking and just getting around in winter. I won't say a lot. I mean, there were several days at times where I had to use a headlamp. But yeah, so I got the generator, the gas generator, last year at the end of winter, and of course that's been quite a help. What I'll do is maybe twice a week I'll run the gas generator, charge the solar generators, and that runs everything I need light-wise, charging the laptop, and of course the refrigerator. We should really talk about the refrigerator, guys. This is a new addition. to my life up here. I think I got it maybe last year summer, and yeah, I struggled. You know, keeping cold food here in the warmer months is really difficult. I used to attempt treating myself with some bacon or meat, and I would bring up a bag of ice and use a regular cooler, and that's just not optimal. Lugging a cooler and bags of ice up here and it only lasts a couple of days in summer is not fun. So I now have this IceCo, which is absolutely amazing. Another item I'd recommend. It runs on both 12 volt and 110. So when I'm running the generator, I'm running the fridge. Otherwise, believe it or not, guys, this little Fremo over here, the Fremo actually runs the refrigerator most of the time. I would say in the winter months, this Fremo will run that fridge for easily 5-6 days, no problem, and keep everything cool. Of course, the compressor's not running all the time. I would say in the summer months, every maybe I'd get 2 days of running the refrigerator out of this Fremo. When it comes to running the satellite, I typically run it on the Bluetti. The Starlink satellite takes about 45-50 watts when it's running, and that Bluetti will literally run for 10 plus hours running the dish. So pretty handy. It's silent, it's quiet, and I've had it for 3 years. Haven't noticed the batteries degrade yet, whereas this EcoFlow over here, the batteries, there's a noticeable degradation of battery capacity, yeah, but not with the Bluetti. So doing a good job, Bluetti. Yeah, the Delta I don't really use too often. It's kind of a backup standby. So yeah, there you go, guys. That's kind of in a nutshell what I do for power up here. It's not very fancy. If you're hoping to find out how to run your $1 million mansion off grid, I'm not your guy. Yeah, I think I should give the chickens some treats. It's been a couple of days. They probably need some mealworms. Actually, I have the black soldier fly larva, which is much better, higher protein, and it actually helps with the egg production in winter. I found when I'm feeding them the larva, the egg production's better. So. Anyways, guys, that's it. I'm going to get ready for the stream, and this is just sort of an overview. You can leave comments in chat, or we can discuss what you've just seen here in more detail. So there you go, guys. I think I'll take Ranger for a quick walk and call it a day. All right. See you guys. Take it easy. Okay, guys, so yeah. That was the quick video that I shot this afternoon that, I don't know, probably took an hour, believe it or not, just to get that video out. So anyways, you can see my setup up here is really quite simple, guys. You know, I try and do things up here that, you know, I follow the KISS method, you know, keep it stupid simple. So, yeah. The solar generators I've had for a little over 3 years, and like I said, the Bluetti is primarily what I use. Every time I power up the dish, the Starlink dish, it's pretty much the Bluetti that's running it. I don't like to run the gas generator, and really the gas generator for me is just a standby. It's not something I want to run often. I don't like the noise. Kind of disturbs the peace up here. But it is handy having it. I will say that. Like I mentioned, in winter up here, I can go for, you know, a couple weeks easy, and it's just, you know, gray and overcast. And the 300 watts of solar power panels that I have, they don't produce much when you have day after day of, you know, doom and gloom. So having the generators being a godsend, because I can fire that up twice a week and you know, charge everything up. Yeah, before my first couple years, it was really, a lot of cooking with headlamps, which is fine. But yeah, I literally have headlamps everywhere. When I'm working, I commute. The trip down the mountain, the hike down the mountain is done in the dark in the mornings, and then when I get back, depending on the time of the year, that's also in the dark. So, headlamps are something I have all over the show. They're hanging everywhere and in every bag. So I don't know if anybody had any questions on solar generators. I know over the years, some people get upset when I call them solar generators because they're not generating anything, and that's fine. But I just call them what the industry calls them, solar generators. I mean, they're essentially just batteries wrapped up in some plastic with some electronics on it. But they are handy, and I think they've come a long way. The ones that I have are fairly old and first generation. I've seen some ones now that look pretty good. So, yeah, most of the living is done off solar generators, and the 3 panels that you see out there. I really don't have need for a lot of power up here, and that's the way I like it. I've seen a lot of people over the years, families buy property out in the boonies, and they come out, they move out, hoping to bring, the dishwasher and the, washing machines and the flat screen TVs, and they want to bring everything that they had in a city hooked up to power and come and live off grid with it. And quite often that doesn't work for them. I've just found that downsizing your power requirements is kind of key for success in living out here. Not having expectations that you're going to live like you did in the city is kind of key. I've seen people come and go. Families live out here for a couple years, and then the next day you look out the window or past their driveway, and it's for sale again. So that's been my experience. I've been doing this for a few years now, not just out here, but in other places. And you really have to have the mindset to kind of do this, be prepared to work and downsize certain things in your life. Of course, there are folks who can come out here with their several $1 million and just throw money at problems. I don't think that's the most of us, and I can't imagine any of those folks watching this stream or anything that I do. So, yeah, just downsizing your mindset and expectations as to what you're going to be running out here will help in just getting by out here. So I have no idea if anybody's even listening to me right now. Yeah, any questions, drop them in chat, and I'll be happy to answer your question. So I'm just staring at chat now, guys. That's why I keep on looking away from the camera. And yeah, my dog Ranger is here next to me, and I think he wants me to play throw with him. He's got his little toy here, and he keeps on putting it on my lap. Buddy, now is not the time. Anyways, yeah, questions. Nobody has any questions for me, guys. Come on. I just, I'm not the type of streamer that can just talk for several hours. I need some feedback. So, yeah, let me know. There's 9 viewers. At least one of you must have a question for me. Oh, that awkward silence. Maybe I need to refresh something here. No? Yeah, so another thing that's happened this winter is I don't have a snowmobile this winter, and that's been quite a challenge since, as some of you may know, I can't drive up here in the winter months. I park my vehicle at the bottom of the valley, and the last couple of years I've had a snowmobile, and this year I haven't had a snowmobile. So there's been a lot of hiking and a lot of hauling gear in a sled on foot up this mountain. So I'm kind of glad that we're getting to the end of that, I think. I do have a quad. It's a two-wheel quad. Is that even possible? Two-wheel quad, is that what you call it? Is it even a quad with just two-wheel drive? Anyways, but I can't use the quad this time of the year when there's snow on the ground. There's patches of snow, and even though it looks like things are starting to dry up, there's some areas heading down this mountain that are well shaded, and the snow is still thick, and it'll be there till May, and I just can't get a little quad over it. So, yeah. Anyways, I think I saw a question come in. Are you in a good orientation for sun exposure? Yeah, sun exposure is pretty good here in general. I'm not sure if you're referring just to where I'm at, or the actual solar panels. The solar panels, where you see them on the side of, I could probably move them and intend on moving them to a better location out in front of the cabin. But overall, that's not a bad spot for them. In the summer months, in the warmer months, I have a good 9, maybe 10 hours. In those peak summer months of sunlight, 8 hours, definitely 8 hours of good sunlight on those panels. Winter gets a bit sketchy. With those panels, even when there is sun, maybe they get 4 hours of good sunlight on the panels. But as far as exposure goes in general, I see a lot of sunlight up here, way more than down in the valley. Obviously, I'm on the south-facing hillside on a valley, so I get some good exposure, and yeah, it's good enough to even grow stuff. You probably saw my greenhouse up here. I get enough sunlight there to grow the basics. Sun exposure is pretty important, guys. If you're looking to live off grid and looking at properties, there's really two things that are really important: water, right, and solar exposure. If you plan on growing items and having a good time through winter this far north, you want to make sure you've got good sun exposure. I've had property before. I owned some property that was absolutely gorgeous, but it was facing the wrong way. And winter, if the peak of the roof saw an hour of sun, it was a lot. So it was like the frozen tundra throughout winter. And I'll definitely say look at solar exposure on your property if you're looking at off-grid properties. It's kind of key. You don't want to be down in the bottom of a valley in a forest. It might be nice in summer, but it's going to be dreadful in winter, so keep that in mind. Yeah, hopefully that answered your question, family plan. The other one is Kevin Maston. How do you heat water? Well, I have a wood stove. The wood stove is probably the most important thing that I own, really. I could have all this other stuff, but if I didn't have a wood stove, there'd be a problem. I'm not sure I would want to make it up here through a winter. The wood stove really is the heart of living. When you live like this on a cabin in a North American climate, your wood stove is the center, the heartbeat of the operation. So, yeah, what I do is typically through winter, I will collect snow in some big soup pots. I pack them full of snow, and I put them on the wood stove, melt the snow, and that is my shower water. Otherwise, I have a propane stove, camping stove that I, boil and cook on, and boil kettle water. But yeah, so wood stove heats my water. And then in summer, of course, I'm not operating the wood stove in summer, guys. So what I'll do in summer is I have a solar shower bag, and I just leave the solar shower bag outside every day, and that's my hot water. I'm not sure if you guys know what a solar shower bag is, but let me grab it and you'll know. This, guys, is the solar shower bag I get. This is probably the I don't know, fourth or fifth one I've had in several years. They tend to degrade when you're using them every single day. You know, the sun just degrades the plastic and so on. But this is the best brand that I've used over the years, guys. I've been using solar shower bags for many years, and this is the brand you want to get if you're looking at solar bags. I've tried the Coleman ones. I've tried the Coghlan's brand. They're garbage. This is the best one. So yeah, solar shower bags outdoors. I shower outdoors in summer, and it works pretty well. Let me put this back. Okay, good question. What else we got here? Oh, family plan. Hopefully you brought the kettlebells up with the help of the snowmobile. Actually, no. Those kettlebells have been up here since I moved up here and was building this place. I actually carried them up by hand. I didn't have the quad when I first moved up here. I got that maybe a year ago. At the end of last winter. Yeah, end of last winter, I think I got that quad. I was very fortunate to get that quad. It was actually given to me. So it's an old one. It's only 2-wheel drive, but it does the job. Yeah, the kettlebells were carried up here. Back in the day, I don't use them so much now. Every now and again, I'll do a light workout. But back in the day, I was quite the kettlebell monster for many years. I love the kettlebell. If you're going to be working out or training, and if you're concerned just about cardio and upper body, well, actually all body strength, a kettlebell really is the way to go, guys. You know, it's low impact. You don't have to run anywhere, and you will get the best workouts you can just in, you know, a 3-4 foot area. You don't need any space for it. I swing the kettlebell on my deck here, and sometimes on a nice day I'll just take it out the gate there and have a little bit of a workout without really going anywhere. Anyways, kettlebells, good upper body cardio workout. Yeah. Okay, any more questions? Come on, guys, more questions. Yeah, we're talking about off-grid power. You got any questions? It doesn't have to be about power, obviously. Any questions regarding off-grid? Yeah, so you saw the greenhouse that I have. You know, that's been a bit of an experiment because obviously I catch water, rainwater off the roof of the cabin. And so, you know, if I don't have water, I'm not growing anything. You know, I can haul drinking water for myself and doggo, but I'm not hauling water for gardening. So I rely on rainwater and catching rainwater to, you know, get anything out of the greenhouse. And that's been a fun experience. What I have learnt this far north is trying to grow any heirloom tomatoes is problematic. You know, they just take so long to grow that there's just not enough growing months up here to grow heirloom tomatoes, in my experience. Now, maybe other people have better success, but I didn't have much success this year. And I've tried it before on my last property with heirloom tomatoes, and it was problematic too. But regular tomatoes, the hybrid types and so on, not a problem. Okay, so who else is up here? Oh, yeah, Jason D. Yeah, you caught me live. This is really an experimental stream, guys. I'm not sure, if it's something I want to do all the time. Um, I'll get some feedback from you folks on the quality of the stream. I mean, is it buffering? What does it look like? Is everything in sync? Because I'm reliant on Starlink satellite over here, so it's not the best platform for streaming from as far as bandwidth goes, because the bandwidth is just up and down all the time. So I have no idea. Let me know if this is somewhat tolerable, the stream. So yeah. Any more question, guys? We're talking about living off grid. Well, living with less as well. Um, Less is more is really my motto. I try to not overcomplicate anything up here. The more systems and things and trinkets and stuff that I need to survive, is not where I want to be at. Just the bare minimum on every type of system and everything I do up here. Yeah. So what we got? Any more questions? Sound is good. Visual on the stream looks good. That's awesome, Jason. Thank you. Yeah, I had to choose between streaming at 1080p or 720, and I chose 720. So I know the resolution may not be the best. Maybe if I do another stream, I'll try at a high resolution and see if we can get a better looking stream. As the weather clears up here, I may try streaming outside. So and do some stuff. I've got some fencing projects and just stuff we can talk about regarding tools and building and outdoor projects. Again, it just depends on the success of this stream. If people like it, if they want me to stream again, I need feedback to kind of know, guys. I'm not going to do this if A, it's not working, and B, nobody's really interested. So yeah. Well, I see there's more people getting on the stream right now. There's 4. I think we had 5 at one point, and then 8, and now 14. So yeah, I mean, if you guys want me to keep on chatting, hopefully you have some questions, because I'm definitely not the guy who has the gift of the gab. Yeah. So any more questions? Drop them in chat. I hear my dog outside. He's barking. And I see we're getting low on lights here. Let me open the curtains over here, guys. Yeah, so the good thing is we sort of coming through winter here. There's I'm noticing a little more light in the day, which is nice. Man, I have been missing those summer days where it's still light outside at 9 o'clock. There's just so much you can get done. Yeah, for me, through winter, it's really just about basic survival, getting home. If I'm working, getting down the mountain and getting back home, boiling water, cooking dinner, and going to bed. And when I'm not working, when the temperatures are frigid, there's really not much that I'm doing outside. I'll take strolls with the doggo, and there's been a few times where I, let's just say, go catch some critters for chow. But otherwise, I'm kind of I hole up in winter somewhat. So I'm definitely looking forward to getting to summer. We had some multiple days this winter where temperatures were, I think the lowest I saw was a -28. We had for a few days there lots of sub-zero temps. Half of winter was sub-zero temps. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting through that. Definitely the priority as things thaw, and hopefully I get some more work, and I need to put some money in the kitty and save for a snowmobile. I don't know if I want to do this again without a snowmobile, guys. It's been interesting, to say the least. Yeah, bear with me. I'm just going to let the dog in, all right? Hang on, guys. Stand by. Get in here. So, yeah, can you guys hear the generator in the background? I'm curious. Okay, there's a question there. Do a number of people live off grid up there? I'm in Oregon. Oh, yeah, we got a lot of off gridders up in my neck of the woods. I won't say directly around me, but this region and northern Idaho in general, this northwestern area of Montana. There's people out in the woods that you will bump into. I've got some around here that you'll be driving along some road, not expecting anybody to be out here, and all of a sudden you'll bump into somebody's house in the middle of nowhere. So yeah, this whole off-grid thing, people have been doing it for a long time. It's not anything new. It's people get by just fine without electricity. There's all kinds of systems, technology allowing you now. I mean, look at me. I'm streaming from a mountain, with the generator running, and so much is possible now. So yeah, there's a bunch of people in my immediate vicinity. There's two families that live nearby-ish, and both of them are off grid. One of the families is a fairly large extended family. They up in Alaska half of the year, and they run on a generator and do just fine. Okay. TN Outdoors, long time no see. Yeah, it's been a while. I do vaguely recall your name there. Life. I was busy there for a while working and just surviving. So, making YouTube videos has not been a priority for me, guys. It's still not really a priority. But, it's nice to communicate with people, like-minded people. That's really why I'm doing this. So for those of you who don't know, I'm not active on YouTube and most social media anymore, with the exception of one platform that I am fairly active on. And I post quite a bit about my life and what I'm doing, and post videos, short clips, and photos of what I'm doing up here. And that's Gab. So gab.com. You'll find me on there. And that's really the only social media that I'm on nowadays. I just find the other stuff, trying to be polite, not very appealing anymore. Don't really want to be part of it. So, and I think I may even switch to another platform for streaming if folks are into this and getting something out of it. I might look for another platform. I don't know. Oh yeah, so you can't hear the generator. That's awesome, because I can hear the generator. It's just kind of a background hum. So thanks, Jason. Family plan. Off-grid was the original living situation. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, I see some people online, and it's always amusing. There's a bunch of folks out there, or couples, living off-grid, doing videos, and every time and it's not anything I look for, but I'll sometimes see the thumbnail, and it's usually some young girl in tight yoga pants, posing in front of like a cabin or something, and they get millions of views, really based on the thumbnail. Yeah, living off grid, or that's not even really a thing. I mean, just living without power. People have done it for most of mankind. Most of history, man being on the planet, has been people living without electricity and living just fine. So it's really just about a mind switch, guys. You've got to you've got to flip a switch in your head. You know, it's one thing looking at all the cool pictures, social media, and the girls in yoga pants, you know, doing poses outside their log cabin in the woods. You can look at that and admire the pictures, but when you come out here and do it, there's some real things that need to change. You know, and it's mostly a mental switch you have to make. I would say, you know, a lowering of expectations and preparedness to kind of, you know, work, and because nothing gets delivered to you out here. Nobody's going to come out and fix your stuff. You're going to have to figure out how to do it, and if you're not capable of that, you're really not going to be happy living off grid out in the boonies. I know, again, the pictures look super cool, but you know, they're just pictures, guys. There's something else that needs to happen internally for you to start enjoying this kind of lifestyle. What are the best brands of generator for off-grid? Well, Jason, I actually haven't used a lot of... are you talking about gas generators? I haven't used a lot of gas generators. I would say you want to probably avoid the cheap generators, you know, in places like Amazon. Actually, I do know, you know, if you can afford it, you probably want to go with Honda. The Honda generators are superior. And anytime I've met anyone who's lived off-grid for a long time, and they're using generators, it's usually a Honda generator. They are the most reliable. They last the longest. I don't have one because they're also double the price of anything else in a similar category. So definitely Honda. And yeah, stay away from the cheap generators, because I've had a couple of those too, and both of them are broken. You know, over the years, I went for the cheapies. Like, wow, that's a super deal, and then, you know, 8 months, a year later, it's dead, and nobody wants to work on it, and I can't find the parts to fix it because it's, you know, made in no-name brand China. So I'd avoid those for sure. Okay, what else we got over here? They don't call it screw tube for nothing. Yeah, so much I can say about it, but I won't now. Hello, friend from South Carolina. All right, Mr. Gas1. Gas. Yeah, greetings to you. Thanks for swinging by. I appreciate it. We're answering any questions about living off grid, anything you guys want to know, living in the boonies, you know, surviving. Not just surviving, you know, it's really about thriving. If you out here doing this and you're just surviving, you're not going to last long. You really need to get to a point where you're thriving. And again, a lot of that is sort of a mental decision one has to do. And elbow grease, guys, elbow grease. There's a lot of work involved with physical labor involved with living like this. Yeah, there's a question from, is that IK or 1K? How's your dog? Dog's good, man. He's doing well. Did I not bring him inside? Oh, he's he's laying down right now. It's starting to chill down in the cabin. I don't have a fire going right now. It's probably about 52 degrees, somewhere around there, low 50s. I don't like to start a fire till until I see 39, maybe 45, depending on how I'm feeling. But 45 degrees, I'll start thinking about making a fire if it's 45 inside. I don't like to have a fire going all the time. Not only is it using a lot of firewood, which I have to cut and haul and stack. There's a lot of energy and effort in just getting your firewood together when you're a one-man operation living on a mountain. So, you know, I don't like throwing it just willy-nilly and have a fire going all the time. I kind of start the wood stove when I need it. Yeah. Jason D, how many years have you been off-grid now? Well, up here 3 years, and then before that I've done 4 years. If you look at some of my older videos on YouTube, I owned some property and I built a log cabin, and I lived up there for 4 years off grid. And then I've done a few projects in between, guys. I built a little shelter out of logs and spent a winter just in a small teepee shelter. You can find that video on YouTube. So I've kind of been fiddling around with being off grid and, living in small spaces for quite some time. Half my career too has been out at sea on very small boats and living in cabins. So small spaces kind of appeal to me, and I'm comfortable in them. Small spaces inside, but all this playground on the outside. That's really living for me, guys. So did that answer your question? I don't know. Somewhere 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. At least I would say maybe for 9, 10 years now, various off-grid type situations. So yeah, Jason, you got we got a smaller Honda one. Okay, yeah, you can't go wrong with the Honda generators, guys. Like I said, everybody who I bump into who lives out in the woods and runs a generator, and have been doing it for a long time, they all have Honda generators typically. So it was a good purchase. Family plan. Any bears sighted? Yeah, I have seen some bears. I tell you what, I see more bear poo, bear scat, than I do actual bears up here. I have sighted, I think in the last year, maybe 3 sightings nearby, but I see bear scat fairly regularly. Bears are pretty observant. A bear probably sees me all the time, and I never see it. So they know what I'm doing. I just don't know what they are doing. So we actually have a grizzly in this immediate area, tagged grizzly that's been around for a while. Fortunately, I haven't run into it. I have had some fairly large bear scat right here in the pathway that I hike up and down the mountain. So they're out here, but I don't worry about them. Cougar, mountain lion, lots of mountain lion out here. You hear them through winter, what's the other one? Pretty much every type of critter is out here, guys. Coyotes as well. Ranger got into a little bit of a tussle with a coyote. I don't know, maybe 10 months, a year ago, and had a little fight with a smaller coyote. Fortunately, it hadn't been going on for too long. It was right back behind the cabin here, and I managed to get out there and resolve the problem. And there were more coyotes. There's a pack of them when I got up there. So Ranger got out just in time. Right, so where were we? Not totally off-grid yet, but I have a 350 kilowatt generator. So far this month, 350 kW. That's a fairly large generator. Okay, any bear sighted? I answered that one. Any luck hunting last season? Let's just say, yeah, I like a smaller game. Grouse is probably my number one game that I like to get. Deer is a bit of an issue for me, primarily because of its size, and I'm only one guy, and you saw my refrigerator. I don't have a large refrigerator to store deer, so I don't. It's been a few years since I've taken deer. I have lots of deer around me all the time. That's the one thing I see almost every day. We've got elk. I know there's been a moose up here. I've seen a moose up here. I think it's the same moose that I see every single year. Usually in winter it comes up in this area. We have big herds of elk up on the mountain further up. But deer, whitetail, and some muley, but mostly whitetail in this area. I could shoot deer all day long, every day, but I just don't like dealing with an entire animal carcass that size because I'm one person with no refrigeration or not enough. So yeah, grass all day long. That's my favorite because it's such a quick meal too. The thing with grass is I can very quickly get the breast meat out of it. There's a way to you can stand on the wings and pull on the grass, and the breasts just come out, and I mean it's kind of ready to go. What I'll typically do with grass is a little bit of salt in some water. I'll brine them overnight in like a salt brine mix, and it's a great meal for one person. There's no waste. So yeah. So do I see myself living off grid for the rest of my life, or at some point going back to town? That's a good question. Very good question. To be honest, I don't see myself ever moving back into a town or the city. There's certain things, I'll be honest with you guys, that have developed living like this that I now struggle with going into town. When I have to go into town and let's say go somewhere where there's crowds of people and or long lines, I just leave. Yeah, for some reason I just it's almost like there's too much input. And also driving to a large city. I mean, obviously I have to go to town here fairly regularly, but large cities, the last time I went to a large city, it was pretty overwhelming for me. I mean, as I got closer to the city, driving on the highway, and everybody started merging and traffic started to pick up, yeah, definitely felt a little anxious. It's just too much input for me. There's too much going on. It's like I've just become accustomed to a slower pace. They say never, but I really have zero interest going back, and definitely not a city. If I was somehow forced through age or something, or some kind of ailment or physical issue, I would probably choose on the outskirts of a small town. But living in a town, no, not again. I'm done. Okay, so what else we got here? Grass is some of the best game there is, TN Outdoors. Yeah, I agree. For me, there's just a lot of it. The nice thing about having Ranger is we'll go out and he'll find the grass if they're there. He'll flush them, and then they typically fly straight up to a branch, and then I take care of them. So it's really easy out here for me to grab grass. I've seen guys actually just hit grass off tree branches with the right technique with a stick. So I haven't tried that yet, but okay. So yeah, Jason, you've moved to a small town now. I dislike the big city. Yeah, and trust me, you go city, you go small town, and then you go out in the boonies off grid, and you do that long enough, and if you get into that rhythm and start enjoying it, it's very difficult to move back or look at a city or town again as a viable place to live. There's really just something beautiful about being out in a space, wide open space like this. I go for literally days and I don't speak to anyone. I don't see anyone unless I drive into town. And town for me is, almost 30 miles away. So 25 miles away till I get near the town. So, and I'm comfortable with that, and it's got easier over the years. But then again, I've never been somebody who struggles with not having input in people. Even when I was around people, I didn't have to have companionship or somebody talking to me in order to feel, fulfilled. So that's, I don't know, maybe depending on how you look at it, it might be a little more extreme now that I've been living out like this for a while. Yeah, so the video is getting a little grainy, guys, and that's only because we're getting into low light now. I see we have 14 people viewing now, and maybe there's a lot of topics and things I could discuss here. So maybe we'll leave that for another time. I think I'll give a stream a go again, and we'll come up with some other topic and talk some more. So I really appreciate everybody sort of logging on and taking part. It's not like 14 people is a huge amount of people, but I've had some good questions, and the idea is really, guys, just want to people that are interested in this lifestyle and have questions, and perhaps are thinking about living it. I had a lot of questions about this lifestyle before I made it out here. I used to spend weeks, months just, watching stuff, reading. I did a lot of reading. I kind of prefer reading. I've always been interested in this sort of thing, but I had a lot of questions and a lot of things that I thought I knew, but then realized that I was way off target once I was out here and living like this. That's the beautiful thing about being out here. You're going to fine-tune your systems and figure out what works and what doesn't. And like life in general, guys, I can tell you that, if you're willing to learn, you're going to find that you've made wrong decisions. And Lord knows I've made a lot of wrong decisions. But eventually you're going to get to a place where, trial by error, you're going to figure out what works and what doesn't. So that's really the best way to go about this. Yeah, thanks, Jason. I appreciate you. I didn't really market this live stream very well. I kind of threw it together. Again, the best place to see what I'm doing and connect with me is on gab.com. You can find all my stuff there. So yeah, thanks, Jason. TN Outdoors, haven't dropped your pistol lately, have you? Well, yeah, thanks. We don't want to mention that, all right? That's a big no-no, guys. Losing your pistol is not something you should mention. Well, it shouldn't ever happen, and you probably shouldn't make any videos about it. So just, little tip there. Thanks for pointing that out, TN Outdoors. How far is your commute to work? At a mess. Well, it depends, because I do sort of contract work when I can. I haven't worked since before Christmas, so things are, let's just say, a little lean right now. But it depends. Typically I'm helping contractors and doing building work, building homes, and so it involves a bit of travel in general. So sometimes I can, usually it's at least 30 miles for me to get to where I work, and then depending if we're building something out of town or even further, who knows. I'm hoping to get a van, which will allow me to actually stay in the van or live in the van, and that would allow me to take on jobs further away. Because doing this commute, especially in winter, is really tough, guys, as you can imagine. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question. When I've got work, it really depends where it is, and at a minimum, it's 30 miles away. So what we got? Yeah, sorry you got in late. Hope to catch your next live stream. Yeah, I'll market the next one a little bit better, guys. I didn't tell anybody besides my group on gab.com. Again, that's where you can find me. Gab.com, Off-Grid Warrior. Outside of Gab, I didn't let anybody know on any other platform or any other way. So, yeah, thanks, guys. I really appreciate those of you that did tune in and make it in. We'll do this again. I see some of you have told me the stream's been okay and quite watchable. So, yeah, it's grainy now because it's getting dark. So anyways, guys, I think we're going to call that a stream for now. And, yeah, I really appreciate everybody coming by and watching and all the questions. And we'll try this again. And, yeah, Okay, guys, if you want to find me, it's gab.com, Off-Grid Warrior. That's where I post most of my stuff nowadays. All right, so take it easy. Have a good one, guys. I think at that point I'm going to sign off if I can figure out how to. Okay. See you guys. Cheers.